8 years into a relationship, about to get married, my fiancé gave the diamond ring meant for me to his female secretary. I had an asthma attack and almost died, but he was still dancing with the secretary. He usually gave me the cold shoulder, and when my blood sugar dropped and I tried to eat, he called me things like, "Are you starving?" I finally couldn't take it anymore and broke up with him. He knelt and begged me to come back, but I didn't look back. When I had my asthma attack, Robert was intimately dancing with his female secretary in the center of the banquet hall. Even as I was foaming at the mouth and losing consciousness, the man was still holding his secretary close, whispering and laughing with her. On the way home, I found a diamond ring in the passenger side compartment. Before I could speak, Robert frowned, snatched it away, and said coldly, "It's not for you." I nodded, pointed to the wedding dress shop up ahead, and said calmly, "Could you please pull over?" The wedding dress I had custom ordered, it seemed, needed to be returned. As soon as I walked into the wedding dress shop, Robert got out of the car and followed me. He threw a jacket onto my face. "Sarah, fix your bad habit of losing things." Robert was a germaphobe and never allowed any of my things to be left in his car. Looking at the jacket on the floor, I said flatly, "It's not mine." Hearing this, the man's expression softened, and he picked up the jacket without a hint of disgust, folding it neatly. I knew the clothes belonged to Chloe. Every time Chloe deliberately left something behind, it would cause a hysterical argument between Robert and me. This time, however, I had no complaints. I just turned and gave the store assistant my phone number. The assistant smiled and said, "You've come at the perfect time. Your custom wedding dress and suit are finished and ready for fitting." Before I could refuse the fitting, the man who had just wrongly vented his anger at me walked into the fitting room with a cold face. 10 minutes later, I stood in front of Robert in the wedding dress. He smirked at me, tacky. I didn't argue with him, but asked the assistant to take a photo for me. Hearing this, Robert wore an impatient look and was about to put his arm around me for a picture together. Just then, his phone rang. It was Chloe's specific ringtone. The girl was crying to him on the phone, saying her favorite jacket was missing. She promised if any kind soul found her clothes and returned them immediately, she would pledge herself to him forever, loyal until death. After hanging up, Robert didn't even change his suit and strode out quickly. Listening to the car drive away, I picked up a pair of scissors and, without hesitation, cut the wedding dress to pieces. 1:30 in the morning. As I was packing my personal belongings, I received a text message. It was from Robert, drinking. After an 8-year relationship, it was rare for the man to voluntarily report his whereabouts. Looking at the cleaning gloves on my hands, I didn't reply. After taking out the trash, I took a hot shower and fell asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow. When Robert came home the next day, he ran into me taking out the trash. He looked at me strangely. "Is your phone broken?" Seeing me shake my head, the man instinctively furrowed his brows. I knew why he was asking. In the past, whenever he stayed out too late, I would annoyingly send texts and call him. But last night, his phone had been eerily silent. As I was about to walk outside, Robert asked again, "Sarah, where did the photo on the wall go?" Lowering my gaze to the trash bag, I was about to tell him the truth when his phone vibrated. Shouldering past me, the man held down the voice message button, talking as he walked inside. "Hold on, kiddo, I'll bring it over as soon as it's ready." Hearing the sound of running water from the bathroom, I continued downstairs to take out the trash. On my way back up after taking out the trash, my blood sugar dropped. Sweaty and weak, I returned home, picked up the scrambled eggs and toast from the table, and took a bite. Then I heard Robert's voice, full of resentment, "Sarah, are you starving?" Watching the man throw my bitten toast and the plate into the trash can, I asked him with a blank stare, "I've cooked for you for 8 years. Does that mean when my blood sugar crashes, I'm not even allowed a bite of your breakfast?" Robert's gaze was cold and hard, ill-mannered. Taking without asking is stealing. He put on his suit and slammed the door shut as he left. Facing Robert's new round of cold shoulder, I instinctively picked up my phone and opened his messaging app. I saw that he had changed his wallpaper. It was a picture of Chloe making a cute face with cat ears on her head. I liked it and casually unpinned his chat from the top. I worked until noon. I had arranged to see an apartment with a realtor. As I walked into the elevator, I ran into Robert and Chloe. Chloe's hair was messy, and Robert was tying it into a ponytail for her. Seeing me appear, Chloe immediately put her hands on her hips, pouted, and complained to me, "Sarah, you're here just in time. Look at Robert. He's always pulling my hair, like a little boy who hasn't grown up. He's so annoying." Before I could say anything, Robert lightly pinched Chloe's nose, flirting, "Kiddo, if you lie, your nose will grow longer." After making Chloe blush, the man finally looked at me with seeming generosity. "Sarah, fancy running into you. Let's grab lunch together." We had worked in different companies in the same mall for 5 years. Robert had never asked me to lunch during his break. Meanwhile, Sarah would post pictures on social media of every lunch Robert had with her. Recalling this, I smiled and said, "You two go ahead. I have something to do." Unexpectedly, I refused. Robert's face darkened, and the next second, the elevator suddenly jolted and plunged into darkness. Turning on my phone flashlight, I saw Robert holding Chloe, comforting her softly. The elevator resumed normal operation shortly after. When we reached the first floor, Robert offered to give me a ride. Before I could speak, Chloe suddenly fainted. Seeing this, the man disregarded me, shoved me aside, and rushed to the hospital with Chloe on his back. Quietly picking up my cracked screen phone, I hailed a cab and started looking at apartments. In the evening, Robert personally brought a dessert to my desk. Half an hour before, I had seen a new post from Chloe on her social media feed. "Loving someone is like raising a flower. My baby can't finish it, absolutely can't finish it." The picture was a table full of French pastries. I said thank you but didn't open the dessert box. Robert looked a little confused. "Sarah, why are you being so formal with me?" I didn't answer him directly, just said, "If there's nothing else, I need to go print some documents." When I came back after printing my resignation letter, Robert had already left. He left a sticky note, asking me to go upstairs to find him after I finished my work. I tore off the sticky note and threw it away with the dessert. I walked into my boss's office and resigned. My boss tried to persuade me to stay for a long time, but seeing that my mind was made up, he finally accepted my resignation letter. According to the procedure, I would be able to leave after finishing the week. That night at 10 o'clock, Robert called me while I was having dinner with colleagues. A male colleague accidentally answered the phone. When I took the call, Robert's tone was terrifyingly cold. "Sarah, where are you in the middle of the night?" I replied, "Out. Share your location. I'll come pick you up now." After saying that, the man hung up directly. I shared my location and stayed until the place closed. I still didn't see Robert. Opening Chloe's social media feed, I predictably saw her post about being sick and on an 4-drip. I took a cab home alone, washed up, and went to bed. Around 3 in the morning, a travel-worn Robert vigorously shook me awake. He said to me coldly, "Sarah, I'm hungry. Make me a bowl of shepherd's purse wontons." He didn't like shepherd's purse and hated wontons even more. I knew the person who wanted to eat them was Chloe. I wanted to pull Robert's hand away, but I touched the scar on the back of his hand. If it weren't for Robert when the school auditorium caught fire that year, I probably would have been a corpse. A life-saving favor for a bowl of shepherd's purse wontons, I figured I came out ahead. Seeing me get dressed without saying a word, preparing to go out, Robert grabbed my arm. His voice was unusually hesitant. "Why don't we wait until morning? Anyway?" I interrupted him and asked softly, "Besides wontons, is there anything else she wants to eat?" After a moment of silence, Robert released my hand. He said, "No." As dawn was breaking, the man stood at the door with a food thermos and said to me, "Sarah, I have to go abroad next week. I'll make some time this Saturday to have dinner with your parents and discuss our wedding." Before he could finish, I flatly refused. "No need." Robert was visibly startled. "What do you mean by that?" I lied with a smile. "They're traveling out of town and haven't returned yet." The man stared at me intently, seemingly with more to say, but thankfully his phone rang. Because of that, he eagerly closed the door. Friday, my last day at the office. As soon as I left the office, Robert pulled me into his car without a word. In a fank. Why restaurant? Robert cut my steak for me while asking, which wine would you like? I scrolled through my phone indifferently and said casually, you decide. My absent-mindedness caused the man's handsome face to darken slightly. Who are you texting? No one. Even after my answer, the man still snatched my phone away. After browsing through it for a while, his eyes were unclear, and he asked, when did you change your wallpaper? For so many years we had been together, my wallpaper had always been a picture of us. Now, it was a picture of my parents' little dog. Too lazy to answer, I simply got up and went to the restroom. When I returned, Robert was gone. Suddenly, the lights in the entire room went out. A server pushed a cart with flowers and a cake, slowly walking towards me. Shortly after the cake cart stopped at the table next to mine, my phone lit up. It was a birthday message from my carrier. Walking out of the restaurant, I heard a familiar sweet female voice. Wow, Robert is so strong, can you push me higher? It was Chloe, sitting on a swing outside the restaurant, screaming excitedly for Robert to push her higher. The result of being too greedy was that she fell into the man's arms after just a couple of swings. They smiled at each other, hugging for a while before finally noticing my presence. A clear look of annoyance flashed in Robert's eyes as he looked at me expressionlessly. Sarah, this swing is so fun, come join us. Mid-sentence, Chloe's face turned red, and she shyly let her arm, which had been lingering around Robert's shoulder, drop down. Sarah, please don't overthink it. Robert just hugged me to save me. Robert dotingly ruffled Chloe's black hair and looked at her with affection. Silly girl, what's there to explain? The important thing is you're not hurt. After comforting Chloe, the man collected all his tenderness and looked at me indifferently. Already full? I ignored him and walked towards the Ferris wheel nearby. I heard that if you make a wish on a Ferris wheel on your birthday, it will come true. Seeing my back, a hint of sarcasm flashed in Chloe's eyes, and she quickly pulled Robert to follow. Wow, a Ferris wheel. Robert, I want to ride this too. Hearing the staff say there were only 2 seats left, Robert didn't even look at me, took Chloe's hand, and rushed to get on first. 20 minutes later, the man, back on the ground, searched the entire mall but couldn't find me. 8 o'clock in the evening. I walked out of the bedroom with my luggage. I placed a note with the words, break up, written on it under the key. I left without looking back. 11 o'clock at night, my phone rang. It was Robert calling. I was talking to my parents in the living room at the time and didn't see it. An hour later, the man called again. I turned off the screen, turned off the phone, and went to sleep. I slept until noon the next day. After restarting my phone, I was surprised to see over a dozen missed calls. As if sensing something, I opened my messaging app. I saw that the usually indifferent Robert had uncharacteristically sent several messages. What do the key and note mean? So I forgot your birthday? Not answering calls, not replying to messages, is playing hard to get fun? Sarah, I'm giving you 1 hour to get back here, or don't ever come back. Seeing that the last message was sent 3 hours ago, I breathed a sigh of relief from the bottom of my heart, moved my fingers, and deleted Robert directly. There was a knock on the door. After getting my permission, my mother brought in a glass of milk. Sweetie, you have a sensitive stomach, drink it while it's hot. When I suddenly came home with my luggage last night, my parents didn't ask anything, just took care of me as always. Hugging my mother's arm, I sniffled, my nose stinging, and said, Mom, I found an apartment I like. Although it's small, it's enough to shelter me from the wind and rain. My mother smiled and said, then buy it. How much more do you need? Mom will give you the rest. Even though I smiled and shook my head, saying I had enough money, Mom still transferred 200,000 yuan to me. She said that a girl only truly has confidence when she owns property and has savings. Because of this, I immediately arranged to sign the contract with the landlord next Monday. In the evening, my dad not only cooked a table full of delicious dishes but also bought a cream cake to make up for my birthday yesterday. Facing the lit birthday candle, I clasped my hands together and made a sincere wish. wishing my parents health and well-being, and that everything would go well. However, shortly after blowing out the candles, I received some unexpected messages. More accurately, several messages from different people, but expressing the same meaning. Oh my God, Sarah, congrats on your 8-year relationship finally paying off. I'll definitely come back for the wedding and give you a huge cash gift. Sarah, I sincerely wish you and Robert a happy future together and best wishes for your future family. Just as I was feeling confused about the shower of blessings pouring in, a notification popped up in my messaging app. Robert was requesting to add me as a friend. Sarah, I announced on social media that we are getting married. You've gotten what you wanted. You've made enough of a fuss. Seeing the words "made enough of a fuss," I couldn't help but let out a scoff. At this point, who was really making a fuss? Thinking back, my mom once asked me to share Robert's messaging app contact with him. He had always ignored it and never added her. Looking back now, I was actually quite grateful for his indifference. If this farce had reached my mom, it would surely have given her a headache all night. After a moment to compose myself, I first replied to the friends sending blessings, telling them that Robert and I had broken up. Then, on my social media feed that I hadn't used in a long time, I posted a new update that even strangers could see. Don't believe rumors, don't spread rumors. I am single and currently do not have a boyfriend. 2 minutes after this clarification post went up, Robert called. I didn't answer. But the man kept calling relentlessly. I simply blocked his phone number. After the world returned to quiet, I lay down on the soft, comfortable sheets, put on my headphones, closed my eyes, and listened to music. Suddenly it was Monday. After eating the loving brunch my mother made for me, I walked briskly and arrived at the real estate office on time. Just as the landlord and I were about to sign the contract, the landlord's phone rang unexpectedly. A few seconds into the call, the landlord looked at me with surprise, hesitating before handing me his phone. Miss Lynn, this person is looking for you. I knew Robert had a wide network and was capable, but I never would have thought that the usually rational and cold man would extend his reach this far just to get me to answer his call. Finding a deserted corner, I couldn't help but speak. Robert, aren't you being annoying? He didn't expect my tone to be so cold and impatient. After a moment of silence, the man said in a deep voice, Sarah, why are you telling people you're single? Because it's the truth. Robert sneered, leaving a key and a stupid note means you're single again? Sarah, I'm begging you, you're a woman almost 30, can you act more maturely? We're engaged, and soon we'll be married and have children, just as you wanted. How can those classmates feel comfortable coming to our wedding if you're acting like this now? Suppressing the urge to laugh, I said, there won't be a wedding. What do you mean by that? Robert let out a cold snort. Are you actually serious about breaking up with me? I lowered my eyes and answered him decisively, yes, we are breaking up. The man didn't say anything else. Listening to the background noise from his phone, I knew he was at the airport, about to board. Glancing at the landlord nearby, who was worried about the apartment sale falling through, I was about to hang up, but Robert softened his tone and spoke again. Sarah, I know you're angry because I forgot your birthday. I admit that was my mistake. I'll definitely make it up to you when I bring Chloe back from abroad after her treatment. After listening to the man finish, I said indifferently, you misunderstood. I'm not angry, and I don't need any compensation. You just need to know that you and I are finished. After saying that, I hung up the phone and returned it to the landlord, and told him that if this number called again, please block it directly. After signing the home purchase contract and completing the procedures, I quickly received my property deed. After taking a photo for remembrance, I immediately set off to meet my friend. After having fun until around 10 o'clock, I went home and volunteered to take the dog downstairs for my father. As I pushed open the glass door of the apartment building lobby entrance, a tall, familiar figure blocked my path. It was the travel-worn Robert. Sarah. Tightening the dog leash, I tensed my face and took half a step back. Don't come closer. Stung by the indifference on my face, Robert frowned and approached me despite my warning. He opened his mouth, about to say something, but my dog had already gone into attack mode, growling and barking at him. Robert seemed completely unaware of this, relentlessly backing me into a corner, standing against the light, staring at me coldly with blinking. He said, "Let's talk properly. I don't want any misunderstandings between us." I frowned. "There's nothing to talk about with you." The man leaned his fist against the wall, trapping me firmly. "Sarah, have you forgotten we're about to get married? You think you can just dismiss me with a casual breakup? What do you take me for?" Facing the man's furious questioning, I was so speechless I couldn't be bothered to waste a single word on him. I tried to push him away twice but found I couldn't budge him. The dog's frantic barking to protect me continued to light up several floors of the hallway. Seeing more and more onlookers gathering in the apartment building hallway, I had no choice but to compromise, not wanting to alarm my parents. Half an hour later, at a 24-hour coffee shop, Robert stood at the counter and ordered 2 black coffees. He placed one of them, black with extra ice, in front of me. "Sarah, see, I actually remember your preferences." Hearing this, I blinked back a smile. Since I was a child, my parents, relatives, and friends all knew I hated bitterness. We only had black coffee at home purely because Robert liked it. As for needing extra ice, it was because the more ice there was, the less acidic and bitter the coffee tasted to me. After only 2 days apart, the man had inexplicably become much more talkative. Before I could respond, he continued talking to himself. "About your birthday, I apologize. I was busy with work and mixed up the date, always thinking it was next month. But I actually bought you the gift you liked a long time ago." As he spoke, the man took out a delicate small velvet box from his trouser pocket. Seeing that I had no intention of opening it, he pursed his thin lips, opened the box himself, and revealed a pair of glittering, expensive crystal earrings to me. One day 2 years ago, Robert had casually promised me that he would pick out a pair of crystal earrings suitable for formal events for me the next day. Now, he had finally fulfilled that promise. Unfortunately, I no longer needed them. "Sarah, aren't you going to try them on?" Meeting Robert's expectant deep gaze. After a few seconds of silence, I finally picked up the beautiful earrings I no longer needed. However, I didn't put them on for him to see as the man had hoped. Instead, I weighed them in my palm, then flipped my wrist, watching them fall and shatter. Splintered crystal fragments bounced and landed on Robert's suit pants. It was only then that I noticed the man's calf was covered in ripped, bleeding holes from the dog's bites and scratches. I pretended not to see it and looked up calmly. "The gift is ugly, I don't like it. Is there anything else? If not, I'm leaving." The untouched coffee overflowed as he squeezed the cup. The man, who was always meticulously clean, didn't seem to care about the coffee stain on his cuff at all at this moment. He pressed his throbbing temple and asked with a half-smile, "Sarah, how long are you going to keep up this act?" "Huh? You not only messaged Chloe threatening her to quit, but you also deliberately chose to break up with me when she desperately needed to go abroad for heart surgery. All the awful things you've done, I can overlook them for the sake of our past relationship and not pursue it. Now I just want to know what you want. To marry me immediately? Fine, let's go to City Hall right now. We'll get the marriage license as soon as it opens." Robert's handsome face darkened as he suddenly grabbed my arm, pulling me closer to him without question. Our eyes met. The man was startled to find that my eyes held nothing but cold indifference. I pulled my hand away from the man with a look of disgust, having no desire to explain or clarify the ridiculous accusations Chloe had thrown at me to Robert. I just said, word by word, calmly, "Robert, I will state it one last time. I am no longer with you. So please rest assured, I will neither marry you nor do I have any of the demands you are imagining. If we happen to meet at an alumni event in the future, just pretend you never knew me, and don't bother coming over to chat." There was no hysterical flushed face, no weak tears to annoy him. He watched as I got up and walked to the counter, ordered 3 sweet lattes, and took them all to go. At this moment, an undeniable look of anxiety and panic finally appeared in Robert's eyes. He chased me out of the coffee shop, his lips pale, and said to me, "Sarah, I'm your first love." I looked at him composedly. "So? You were the one who blushed and confessed to me back then. You were the one who told me you had never liked someone so much." On graduation day, we promised that no matter what happened, we would be together forever. So, he paused here, and the man actually started to stammer. So, you can't just leave because of temporary emotional fatigue. It's not fair to me. I was amused by him. You didn't actually take the sweet words spoken during the honeymoon phase seriously, did you, Robert? Why would you? Before I could finish speaking, the man, clearly seething with anger, walked into the elevator with a cold face, grabbed my wrist, and forcibly dragged me out of the elevator. Ignoring my struggles and resistance, Robert gritted his teeth, his handsome face tense, and said to me, "Sarah, I declare you win. Whatever you ask for, I'll agree to it, as long as you stop deliberately giving me the cold shoulder and tormenting me from now on." Hearing the word cold shoulder, I looked at Robert with confusion. Robert, are you asking if you can't understand plain English? How many times do you need me to repeat that we're broken up before you'll leave me alone? Even though I had made it this clear. Robert still stared at me intently for several seconds, as if he hadn't heard a word. Then he continued to hold my struggling right hand, trying to pull me towards his silver car parked a few meters away with a cold, determined expression. Seeing this, David, who was nearby, rushed forward, quickly grabbed my other arm, and said indifferently, "Sarah doesn't want to go with you." Noticing that I was putting all my strength into moving closer to David, Robert's lips tightened like a knife. He asked David mockingly, "You know Sarah and I are about to get married, right? She's already accepted my proposal, and in a few days, she'll be my wife. What right do you, an outsider, have to interfere in matters between me and my wife?" David's grip on my hand tightened noticeably. Before he could formulate a response, I, enraged by Robert's shameless claim, retorted with a cold laugh, "David is my boyfriend. My business is his business. As for you, a disgusting ex who refuses to leave and keeps bothering me, what nerve do you have barking at my boyfriend?" The moment I finished speaking, Chloe, wearing a hospital gown, got out of Robert's car. She leaned against Robert's side, looking pitiful, and blinked her eyes, hinting at accusations against me. "Sarah, not only were you photographed flirting with this man at the banquet just now, but now you're hurting Robert's feelings like this for him. Could it be that you're really so promiscuous that you couldn't wait even 2 months to hook up with another man? Oh my gosh, how could you?" What a clever way to imply promiscuity and impatience. Not only did I take Chloe's veiled accusations in stride, but I was also particularly generous, saying to Robert, "Look how much Chloe cares about you. Honestly, you two are a match made in heaven. I sincerely wish you happiness and best wishes for your future family." Hearing my calm, unaffected blessing, Robert's face visibly darkened. A hint of secret joy flashed in Chloe's eyes, her lips slightly parted, ready to add fuel to the fire and continue to taunt me. However, seeing me standing next to David, Robert reacted as if waking from a dream, abruptly pushing her away. Her knees scraped and bruised on the rough ground. Chloe looked bewildered as Robert rushed towards me, explaining in a voice I had never heard so urgent, "Sarah, Chloe and I are absolutely not in the kind of sordid relationship you're imagining. The reason she was in my car was because she fainted on the roadside near the office, so I had no choice but to take her to the hospital." I found it somewhat amusing. "Why are you telling me this?" Seeing that I showed no sign of being angry, Robert visibly relaxed. "Sarah, I just want you to know that you are the only one in my heart, from beginning to end." Realizing Robert was reaching out to touch my face, David suddenly pulled me into his arms with force, and said to Robert warningly, "Sarah is my girlfriend now. Please show some respect." At this statement, before I could even thank David with a look for playing along, Robert suddenly grabbed David by the collar, his face ashen, and threw a punch. David could have dodged the blow. But to protect me in his arms, David stood his ground and took the punch. Slap! A clear, sharp slap echoed through the empty parking lot, following Robert's punch full of anger. Releasing David and unclasping his fist, Robert, whose head I had slapped to the side, stood still and silent for tens of seconds before finally turning his eyes, now vacant, to look at me. He asked me, "Sarah, are you out of your mind?" In fact, without even asking, Robert had already decided in his heart that I must be crazy. If I hadn't lost my mind, how could I, who had loved him for 8 years and had always been submissive, quiet, and sensible, raise a hand against him for a random man? It must be a dream. Just as Robert was thinking this, he looked up and saw me holding David's hand, fingers intertwined, asking David softly if it hurt and if he needed to go to the hospital. Robert was completely stunned. In the man's gradually reddening eyes, disbelief and incredulity were written all over them. Chloe, refusing to give up, scrambled up from the ground, no longer hiding the jealousy and hatred in her eyes. She pointed at me and cursed indignantly, "You shameless wretch! Robert was devoted to you, wanting to marry you, and you've been sleeping with this man behind his back all along." In the past, when Chloe spread rumors and twisted facts in front of Robert, for various reasons, I endured it. Now, she was openly slandering David as the other man right in front of me. Chuckling lightly, I decisively took off my right high heel and walked aggressively towards Chloe. In the blink of an eye, I did something crazy that surprised everyone present. Ugh. Ah. Being slapped wildly across the mouth with the dirty, dusty sole of my high heel, Chloe's eyes widened, and she instinctively tried to retreat, but I had anticipated this and held her hair tightly to control her. Chloe's foul mouth was swollen and bruised in just a few slaps, causing her to scream and cry hysterically in pain. As I coldly lectured Chloe, she kept looking at Robert with tear-filled eyes, seeking help. It was funny how Robert just stood there motionlessly, letting her cry and make a scene. Even after I threw her away like trash onto the ground, he immediately snatched the high heel from my hand and knelt down, trying to put it back on for me. "Sarah, don't be angry. I know you're not the kind of woman Chloe says you are. I finally understand now. The reason we ended up like this is all because Chloe was stirring up trouble between us. I promise you, I will never go easy on her out of pity again. I'll fire her as soon as I get back. Hey, okay, sweetie? So let's not break up, okay? Sweetie, I really know I was wrong." Glancing at the miserable, ashen-faced Chloe, I took off my other high heel and threw it at Robert's face expressionlessly. "Even if you fire 100 Chloes, it won't change the fact that we're broken up." After saying this, I turned to leave, but my skirt caught. Robert grabbed me with a trembling hand. In all the years I had known him, I had never seen him look so distraught and helpless. "Don't go. Can you tell me what I did wrong that makes you so determined to break up with me? Is it true that you're with this guy? Sarah, I don't believe you would be so cruel to me." My eyes were full of disdain. "Let go." Shaking his head stubbornly, Robert's voice was horribly hoarse. "Sarah, look at me. Unless you look into my eyes and tell me yourself that you don't love me anymore, that you love David. Otherwise, I will never believe that you genuinely want to leave me." As Robert wished, I finally turned to look into his deep eyes, which had somehow turned bloodshot and were close to shedding tears of despair. I said to him, word for word, "Robert, I'm going to reiterate one last time. I don't love you anymore. No matter who I love in the future, it will never be you. Do you understand?" His knees buckled, and Robert knelt before me without dignity. He forced a smile on his stiff lips, a smile uglier than a cry. "It's okay, Sarah, it's enough that I love you. You don't have to love me. As long as we don't break up, I'll do anything you want, even if it's murder." I said calmly, "I don't need your useless love. If you bother me again, I will call the police directly." Hearing this, Robert blinked. The bitter tears he had held back for so long streamed out uncontrollably. "Sarah, don't do this to me. I know I shouldn't have constantly trampled on your sincerity and ignored how good you were to me. Why can't you give me one last chance to atone? I swear, I will make you see my change." Interrupting the man's rambling, which had become almost manic, I just said, "Robert, it's too late." Ignoring Robert's empty gaze, which had lost all its light, I got into David's car and left. In the car, I apologized for using David as a shield and causing him to get punched. David smiled indifferently. "If you ever need something like that again, make sure you come to me first." After safely dropping me off at my apartment building lobby, David added, "Sarah, if Robert bothers you again, you can call me, no matter the time." I nodded and smiled, agreeing to have dinner with him next weekend if we were free. One ordinary evening a month later, I received a call from an unknown landline number. It was Robert calling. He sounded sick, weak and coughing incessantly from beginning to end. "Sarah, don't hang up yet, I just have one question. Did you ever love me? I didn't even lift an eyelid, no. After saying that, I hung up the phone, put it down, and continued watching TV variety shows. It wasn't until 2 days later that I learned from the class group chat that Robert had been in a case of arson at his office and was currently in the hospital, his life uncertain. Chloe had started the fire. Angry about being fired, Chloe lost control, and despite her weakened state from illness, she locked the company doors, wanting to die together with Robert. Seeing the case announcement from the local police, it dawned on me belatedly that Robert had called my number when he was close to death. How unlucky. In front of the movie theater, my murmur caught the attention of David, who was buying tickets. Sweetie, what did you just say? I didn't hear you clearly. Nothing. Closing the class group chat, I leaned forward to look at David's phone and asked, did you get the ticket? What time is the showing? Yep, got them. It starts in half an hour, just enough time to get the drink you wanted. David excitedly took me downstairs towards the mall. On the way to get the drink, he also bought me some snacks and toys along the way. The lots of bags he was carrying made it look less like we were going to a movie and more like he had just stocked up for a holiday. After the movie, we went down to the parking lot, and David asked me to open his trunk to get something. Opening the trunk as he asked, I wasn't surprised to see the flowers and balloons he had prepared earlier. The man was visibly nervous. Sweetie, will you be my girlfriend? I smiled and squeezed his hand without hesitation, of course. Life is long and winding. With a turn of events, you'll always meet the next him.